Greasy!
It's been a bit since my last video, a few months since my last map release. I'd like to let you all know where I've been. If you've been following Forge news over the past few months, you may be aware of a lot of issues the community has been facing. A day before Season 3, I was wrapping up Ghostbusters. All that was left to do was to finish fine-tuning the player traits and test the map. After the update, all of my references and variables were blank, some disconnected, and everything shuffled around the page. I sat there for a bit, looked at the damage, and simply said, it's not worth it right now. I had planned to come back in about a month or so, assuming these bugs would be fixed. I immediately lost a map on my first day back. Several others told me to restart my game every hour. It turns out there's a save timer bug. From the moment you launch the game, not Open Forge, merely the game itself, you have about 1 hour before increased risk of failures. No, this is not a sponsored plug for reparations over the dangers of asbestos exposure. Here are some of the possibilities past 1 hour. Attempting to reopen the map will cause the game to crash. It's loading a corrupted version. You need to comb through each map version until you find the last working one. And since it's crashing the game each time, you need to relaunch the game, open Forge, go to My Files, select the map, map details, version history, click on the one on the list, and rinse and repeat. Even on a 990 Evo, this takes so long. Another possibility is that you can quick save and get the normal so-and-so saved map successfully, but upon opening the pause menu and saving, see map save failed. You don't know how long it's been doing that? Well, don't worry, you won't have to comb through versions to see last successful save, because every single save from that entire session is gone, even if it was successful at first. It's easy to lose track of time while forging. Keeping an eye on the clock and restarting every hour is bad enough. The 1 hour mark is only the most consistent time frame. This can happen a little sooner or a little later. These are only two of the most prevalent outcomes. I've seen forgers lose 20+ hour maps to this. It's certainly driven people off. Hell, I've already seen one forger declare that they're quitting while writing this script. Last night I lost an hour of work to dozens of versions corrupting. I found the most recent working one, made a copy, and went to bed. First thing in the morning, I load up the backup and get to work. Another hour later, the game crashes, and all versions of that session corrupted. After a handful of acetaminophen and a nice cup of tea, I was ready to try again. I fought for a full minute to set a wall standard B to white. The color white would go to a dark gray, while the grayer shades would turn lighter but not white. Naturally, this would cause my entire PC to crash. How does Halo Infinite have less stability than the version of Sony Vegas Pro 13 I'm using to make this video? Throughout the season, I've also been getting massive packet loss in Forge. Speedtest.net says I'm getting 500 down, it's only Infinite. I'd be more willing to power through this nightmare solely for the payoff of fueling more custom games. Except there's not that many people playing the maps. Sure, the dopamine hit from a few hundred engagements on YouTube or Twitter is swell, but that's fleeting interest. We want the maps to be played. I think I speak for the majority of forgers when I say I didn't binge 11 seasons of Frasier making one map to be played a few hundred times. Similarly, a wealth of other forgers have shifted their focus to other games, such as Unreal Editor for Fortnite until Infinite sees improvement, or have quit entirely. Morale has been at an all-time low for Forge. It's devastating to see so many incredible creators feel there's no future for Infinite. I recently ran a poll to get a better idea of where people are at. Out of 50 votes, 24% are taking a break, 22% are completely out, 14% are unsure, and 40% are unaffected. This means 60% out of 50 people who have voted have either moved on or are on the fence. That's pretty rough. The majority of comments and DMs point out the lack of reward for making maps. People are putting in months of effort for maps that are getting maybe a few dozen to a few hundred plays. If your map's lucky enough to get featured by a content creator, then there's a high chance you might hit 1,000. You're probably not going to be breaking thousands of plays per map. With Season 4 launching in mere days, it brings infection, career progression, new maps, and Forge improvements. We're in a much better place with content afterwards. That in mind, Season 3 save bugs are still a problem, and we have no idea what bugs Season 4 will introduce or how long until those are fixed, if at all. Michael Shore, aka ForgeLord, and his team are doing wonders for the game in both Forge mode as well as playlists. They obviously care immensely about the game and the players. Hell, Michael is frequently interacting with us, taking feedback feedback, addressing issues and concerns, giving updates, etc. They're doing everything they can. They're probably just as frustrated trying to fix it as we are having to deal with it. The sad truth is that no matter how much good gets added, critical issues such as these demotivate people from forging altogether. It would be one thing if it was fixed after a few days or a week. It's been persistent for 3 months. I'm sure the team is overwhelmed prepping for Season 4. We can only hope that it's enough, that it'll put the game in a better place and for improvements to snowball. In the meantime, I've been working on quite a few maps I hope to put out soon. Some will be delayed due to the aforementioned bugs, as well as backing up flight maps. I have 2 maps that ought to be out in the next week or so if nothing game-breaking happens. For now, I'm gonna... Jeremy... Well, when life hands you Kentucky Fried Dodo.